See, it says you're live. We're live.
Yep.
Now you're famous.
Oh, thank you.
We are live, coming to you from beautiful downtown southern sunny California with Insane Friends.
Where's the southern California? It's been raining and snowing.
He says it's been raining and snowing. Where's the southern sunny California?
Yeah. I don't see it anywhere around here. As the sun comes out, but I don't see any of that southern sunshine and heat.
No heat. Well, we had a little heat today.
All we get's wind.
Wind. Free wind. Yeah, speaking of wind. Hey, Costa Life 352. Thanks for being here. Here, a friend of mine's over, and he was saying, where's the sunny Southern California at? Hey, Almond. Good to see you. Well, I have a video. Oh, it's not with me. I got it out in the car. Anyways, we have Dorito and the Truc Luce is here. Thanks for being here, part of the Insane Friends group. And here in a minute, I'll be doing a shout out. I need to get together with Victor, though, and get an update on these things. And let's see. Luce, Dorito and Luce. I think that's, I'm not pronouncing your name. Luce, something like that. But sorry about that. I'm not trying to mispronounce your name. Just, you know, I think it's a French name, I think. Hey, Joe MacGyver. Marching through the snow, showing some support. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. As you crunch some snow under your feet, trudging through it, it sounds like you're just pulling through it. Jackie's Kitchen and More. Jackie, thanks for being here. Appreciate y'all being here. Now, Joe MacGyver's in the chat. Joe MacGyver's on solar. I've shown his setup on my channel last night and the night before. And Joe has taken an electric hot water heater, and he's discovered that if you hook your hot water heater, electrical hot water heater, from your solar panels and run it direct to the heating element on the electric water heater, it heats up your water, makes it really decent. And Dorito, no worries, bro. It sounds like Luce and Cobb Ray. And it was cold in SoCal, but no snow, thank God. Well, here where I live in Southern California.
Here.
I'm in the high desert. I'm in the Victorville area, and we got a little snow on the ground. And we got snow on the hills right behind me, which hasn't happened quite a few years. And yeah, so we got a little snow. But I used to live out in San Fernando Valley of LA County. Oh, you're in Riverside. I didn't know you were so close, bro. We'll have to do a collab or something one of these days. That would be cool. Yeah, I didn't know you were right here in my backyard. Cool. Yeah, we'll have to do a collab if you're up for it. Yes, hang loose. But and Joe MacGyver, he's right here too. He's a neighbor, a friend of mine, and he's the one with the solar. And so that's cool. We'll have to do a collab, bro. I'm right here in Victorville. How cool is that? All right. I'm going to do this shout out. All right. We have Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Saint Otto, 7:30 Eastern Time. Then we have Sun Georgie Salvadori at 9 p.m. following St. Otto. And then we have Tuesday, Bubba Fiction, 9 p.m. East Central Time. Wednesday, 7:30, we have St. Otto. Thursday, we have Dorito and La Cuche Cobb at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And then we have me, California, Easy 2 Tips and Tricks, ECT, which is abbreviation for etc., at 7:30 California time or Pacific time. And then we have on Friday, we have Horse Shop 1 at 8:30. I guess Twisted R is no longer here. And then we have Chopper's Rule 1 at 6:30 Friday. I believe that's also Eastern Standard Time, I believe. Hey, okay, Alman, thanks for being here, for coming back. If you don't know Joe MacGyver, he's a good friend of mine. He's my neighbor. He's the guy with the solar. Hit him up. And what he was sharing with me last night, and it was on my video, is Jackie says, hi, WB. Jackie's Kitchen and More. She's got some great recipes on her channel. Check her out. And so anyways, Joe's discovered that if you hook up solar panels, he's got 6 solar panels heating up his hot water, his electric hot water, and it's heating up his water to a very nice temperature. And it's, if you use batteries to your hot water heater, it will drain your batteries because it's pulling so many amps. But by taking your solar panels and taking all your negatives and putting them on the same circuit, and taking all your positives and putting them on the same circuit to your cord, running your cord over to your hot water heater, you can operate your hot water heater for free. And he's using 6 panels to do that. Joe MacGyver, how many watts is each solar panel, Joe? Joe MacGyver, I believe you're still here. How many watts are your solar panels? I think they're 250? Well, maybe his phone died. I thought he was still here. Or he'll be answering me here. He'll be giving an answer in a minute unless his phone died. So that's great information. This is like the best kept secret. They don't want you to know that you can have hot water for free. Okay, Joe MacGyver's in the house, and he's saying that he's running 260 watts, 24 volts. Now, Jackie says, good, I have that problem. Sometimes it can be very painful. Oh, you're talking to someone else there, Jackie. Somebody get hurt? Almond says, my feet are swelling so bad to sit down. It's hard to sit down. Depends on what's going on, whether it's Epsom salts. Epsom salts helps to remove the swelling in the foot, which causes it to go down. The fluid, it's the fluid in the leg. And Epsom salts helps to dry that up. Sorry to hear that. Okay, Joe, you've got 260 watt solar panels at 24 volt system set up. And your heating element says 240 or 220 watts, but you're saying it doesn't matter because you have it's hooked up to DC and it's working just fine. And so this is the best kept secret. For those of you that are interested in saving some bucks, and you don't have to be tied into the grid or nothing. You just have your solar panels and you have it wired direct into your hot water heater, your electric hot water heater, and you can heat your water and you're good. Anybody have any questions for Joe on his solar setup? He also has presently 2 wind turbines. One has 6 blades, one has 3 blades. Joe MacGyver was sharing with me how that the 6-bladed turbine will turn at 2-mile-an-hour winds, while the 3-bladed turbine takes 15-mile-an-hour winds to turn it. And it produces far less voltage, far less watts or amps. I'm sorry. And so the 6-blade is a better bang for the buck. In the big picture, it's a little more money. Okay, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, guys. YouTube needs to recognize the insane friends, and let's hit that thumbs up. So YouTube has to go, insane friends. Okay, they're making some noise and they're getting our attention. We got 1 thumbs up presently, and let's make YouTube aware that insane friends are in the house, that they're on board, and we're making noise. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I'm Brett. 3 thumbs up. Does anybody have any questions for Joe and his solar setup? His wind turbine setup, anything like that? Anybody have any questions for Joe MacGyver? Joe MacGyver's in the house. Okay. Thank you, Jackie. Appreciate that, everybody. But the insane friends, we want YouTube to recognize the insane friends, Victor Sane started this, Sane Auto, and it's got a good thing going on. Now, let's see, on March 6th, we will have Muscle Car Appraisal. We'll start their live stream with the insane friends. And Muscle Car Appraisal, they have such a wealth of knowledge. They go to these car shows where they're auctioning off these antique and exotic cars. And thank you, Mom and Will. I mean, they just showed a Lamborghini. I think there was like 3 in the world, sold for $3,100,000 for this Lamborghini. How nice would it be to have some pocket change like that, where you can just throw 300,000, 100 million, 3,100,000 at a car, just pocket change, throw at it. What a mind-blowing amount of money to be able to throw at a car. But it's only 3 in the world, right? I personally would prefer a Lamborghini, not a Lamborghini. Yeah, Lamborghini over a Ferrari. And it was not a Lamborghini, it was a Ferrari that sold for $3,100,000. Yes, Jackie's Kitchen and more. Muscle Car Appraisal has a wealth of knowledge. He has so much information where they're restoring cars. They will take your car and they do appraisals on older cars. And what a great channel. And if you don't know Muscle Car Appraisal and you're hearing it now for the first time, go to their channel. Good guys, good supporters, and they have a wealth of information. It just they're in a class unto themselves. They really are. You know, they are really in a league all unto their own. And I am really glad to see them here, being a part of the Insane Friends group. And I saw them a while back, and it was really neat. When I saw their channel, I'm like, wow. They should have a whole lot more people than what they have. That's for sure. Kind of like when I first met Victor Sane, I'm going, Victor, you have 500 people. I had like 12, 10, 15 maybe. But when I saw Victor Sane's channel, I'm going, Victor, dude, you got top-notch videos, very nice car show footage. You should have 5,000 people, not 500. And so that's when I met Victor, and Victor's doing a bang-up job. Jackie's Kitchen and More says, same here. Almond is spring yet. Oh, you guys are talking about something else. All right. But does anybody have any questions for Joe MacGyver? Hit up his channel. He lives off grid. Joe's a good friend, good guy. He's more than happy to help you answer questions for you, share his knowledge with you. Hit him up, ask him questions, and if he's able to answer you and point you in the right direction, he will definitely do it. That's Joe MacGyver right here, a friend. Before I had my channel, and I'm going, Joe, you need a channel. And I'm doing my channel. I'm going, Joe, you need a channel. He's watching me do I'm saying, Joe, you need a channel. You're off grid. You're doing all these things. I'm always over here helping. You need to do your channel. So finally he did his channel. So give Joe support. He's got I want to say 40 people nowadays. But yeah, Joe's a good guy, and he needs a bigger group of friends.
Now this is hot, but I want you to tell me what you think of
Looks
it.
very
Okay,
hot.
my wife just served me some of her special gizzard and rice soup. I've never had gizzard and rice soup. So Jackie's Kitchen and More, here's a recipe: gizzard and rice soup. I've had gizzards and
Come in
rice,
there and eat with us then?
but I haven't had
Yeah.
gizzard and rice soup. So you're going to debut my chicken and rice soup. I keep saying chicken gizzards and rice soup. And it's hot. It might be too hot to eat.
Yeah, it's too hot, I think.
Almost, but that tastes really good. Pretty tasty. Thumbs up on the gizzard and rice soup. We've been married for a few years now, and the first time to have it. She's been holding out on me. But I like gizzard. I like fried gizzards. I like gizzard and rice. It's just been a long time since I've had it. Living in the South, I used to go get that, go down to the store and just go buy, from the little independent neighborhood store, fried gizzards and good stuff. But that's more Southern style snacks or, eating, but good stuff. Anyways, it could be cow's tongue, but that's really good if it's done right. Jackie's, that was way up. All right, I'm behind times here. Big van put into batteries, connected in parallel, right? Hook up a 500 inverter, run out small fridge, a fan, a stereo, and ATV when we travel for the day. All right. So you're real familiar with this, Almond. We usually give the grizzlies, we usually give the gizzards, the gizzards to our dog, Ruff. Leave my gizzards alone. Give them to the dogs. Even uncooked. Sure, it's not going to hurt dogs. Their stomachs are different than ours. That's for sure.
But cooking them this way, they're tender.
Yeah, but we fried them, then boiled them, and they're really tender. They're just a little too hot, and I'm not going to sit there and try to chew them. Too hot for that. But yeah. So Jackie's Kitchen, if you haven't had done gizzard and rice soup, something to try. And pretty tasty. I'm sure you can. You put your own twist. You're a cook like my wife, so I'm sure your husband. It don't matter what you cook. He knows it's going to be good. Kind of like my wife. She's cooking something. I know it's going to be good. Okay, so nobody has any questions for Joe MacGyver. I'm assuming he's still in the house. He hasn't commented with a 500-watt inverter. Yeah, Joe has, I believe it's I want to say a 800-watt inverter there, Almond or Arnold. Yeah, I believe it's an 800-watt power jack. On my video last night, I show it in the video, and I believe I showed in the one where I went live the night before. I was over Joe's. We're working on this project. We're almost done. We were hooking up. Now Joe has his Joe MacGyver. Oh, there he is. Joe's saying it's a 6,000-watt inverter, 24 volts. What do I know? See? That's why I say, ask Joe. But Joe's like being super creative here, that other people can learn from, is he's got this 10-gallon, it could be a 50-gallon. Just take a little longer to get the water as hot. But by the end of the day, it's going to be hot regardless of if it's 10 gallons or 50 gallons. At the end of the day, that water is going to be hot. But he's being really creative. He's got his 10-gallon electric hot water heater. And then right there at the house, if you've seen the video, or if you see the video I uploaded, we're going to put a 30-gallon propane hot water heater in right there at the trailer inside. So he's going to have his 10 to run hot water during the day. And then if they want hotter water, they can turn on the propane and have all the hot water they need. And it's hot, it would be even hotter. So he's really dialing this in, and he'll be uploading a video of this here probably like tomorrow, I'm thinking. Because we haven't hooked up the 30-gallon propane hot water heater yet in the system, but it's going to have a double hot water heater in the system, the electric and then the propane. And he'll be showing that setup in his video that he'll be uploading, or should be uploading tomorrow, I do believe. So please subscribe to his channel. You'll be glad you did. He's got a lot of interesting uploads, living off grid, and definitely he's being very creative with what he's doing. Okay, Joe MacGyver, Lydia, that's your cats. Almond says, who's the van? She's home. Huh? The plug in the solar in the charger and maintain the batteries. Oh, I must have missed something there, Almond. Joe says, Joe has a pressure tank. that he's painted black that holds like 30 gallons of water, maybe, yeah, about 30 gallons of water. And he's painted it black. So even in the wintertime, when the sun's out, it will absorb the heat and produce and assist having that much more hot water and making it easier for the electric hot water heater to do its job and stay hot. And so he's really got this dialed in. And he'll be showing you this system when we get it complete. So who knows? It may not be till Saturday before you see the whole setup. Reviewing, playing, and more. Thanks for being here, Insane Friend. Appreciate you for being here. We're talking about solar and hot water heaters, and Joe could also tell you about his wind generators, his wind turbines, and tell you how many watts the 6-bladed wind turbine puts out versus the 3-bladed. Tell him about that here, Joe MacGyver. And reviewing, playing, and more, you might want to check out Joe's channel, Joe MacGyver's channel here, a friend of mine who lives off grid, who's we're talking about his setup and how he's getting it all dialed in and thinking outside the box, making it very practical. Yeah, and these gizzards are just melting in my mouth. They're just like soft mush, not mush, but good texture, and they are not chewy. All right, thank you. Reviewing, playing, and more. Joe's living off grid, and he's getting his hot water all set up. He's learned it's the best kept secret because you can take a 220 electric hot water heater. What's that called? I forget what it's called now. Element, hot water element, electric element for the hot water heater, and hook it directly to your DC coming off of the solar panels straight to the element. And you got to take all your negatives and all your positive wires, hook them into one, and then run it to the element, and it heats the water up. You know, how much do we pay a month, a year in hot water? You know, just to have hot water, what do we pay? If it's electric or if it's gas. And Joe's figured out a way to do this, and it works. They don't tell you that. It's not on the packaging. It says 220 volts. And Joe's got 6 solar panels going to this hot water heater, and his water is nice and warm. You could take a shower and be totally efficient in warmth. It's really nice. And then he has a 30-gallon, roughly it's a 30-gallon hot pressure tank that he's painted black. So even in the wintertime, when the sun's out, it'll absorb that heat and produce warm water on top of it. RG Homestead, good to have you here. RG lives off grid or is on solar, and RG has a really nice setup as well as Joe MacGyver. And so, you know, if I can intrude, or if I can put you on the spot, RG, does anybody have any questions for RG and his solar system setup? If you don't mind, RG, since you're in the house. RG Homestead's in the house. And putting you on the spot. Don't mind, RG. He had no clue I was going to do this. I'm just taking the liberty because I really don't think he would mind. So Joe MacGyver and RG are both off grid. Good. I didn't think you would. If you did, I didn't think you would. Okay. So does anybody have any questions for Joe or RG? Any questions about solar? Alman or Arnold there. has a camping van that he has set up on solar. It sounds like it's really efficient. Pretty nice setup for camping. My wife would shoot me if she seen me put seasonings into this stuff. But I like a lot of seasoning. I'm a heavy season. I use heavies. I like a lot of flavor. So anyways, I'm just talking. She'll see this later and go, what? Well, it's not a big deal. But so does anybody have any questions for RG on this solar, living off grid? What he can do, what he can't do? What Joe can do, what he can't do? The benefits, the downsides, anything. Reviewing, playing, and more. What's it cost? RG, what do you have into your solar system? I'm assuming reviewing, playing, and more to have a efficient setup. What's it cost? Now Joe is doing it on a budget or on a dime, literally. Joe had got a hold of some of these. He knew a guy that gave him the panels. He's had to purchase the batteries. And so Joe has spent not a whole lot. He spent a good chunk of dough, but not like you would think. It's actually been reasonable because he didn't have to buy the solar panels. That was a huge plus. So RG, do you mind sharing that information with what you have into your system? Have a functioning solar system. And did you ever get your wind turbine set up? I'm assuming you're calculating there, RG. These gizzards are so soft. Joe has a total of $2,000 tied up in his. Okay, RG says as of late we have about 80,000. Or is that 8,000? $8,000 today, but can do it for cheaper. Yeah, and Joe, we were looking at charge controllers last night. And you can get charge controllers depending on the watts from like $300-400 up to $900 and up. Just depending on what they're doing. What size charge controller are you operating off of, RG? And that allows you to watch TV, run a regular refrigerator. And then in the evening, are you limited to, how long you can watch the TV in the evening? Or can you watch it if you were? That's the panel breaks, new batteries, and inverter and gas gen to keep it top in bad. Top in bed. In bed. BED. Am I looking at that wrong? And a gas. Yeah, Joe has a gas generator he'll use in a pinch. But with these wind turbines assisting him with all the wind we get, from what I'm aware of, it's reduced his generator use by far. Having those wind turbines working alongside the solar panels. Because when there's no sun, you got wind, you're generating power. What's the power of those, your 3 blades generating, Joe MacGyver? And then what is the 6 blade generating?
How do you like?
Good.
And are they tender?
Oh, they're melting my mouth.
They're very tender, huh?
Oh, yeah, they're just, yeah, you wouldn't know they were gizzards. If you didn't know, you wouldn't know. Because they're super tender. Anyways, Joe, what's the watts per hour on your 2 wind turbines? We run like any other house, like most folks do in the city, on the grid. Okay. So if you wanted to stay up till 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning watching TV, no problem. And that's okay. Joe's saying 3 blades is 400 watts, 24 volts. 6 blades is 800 watts. Wow, double the watts, 24 volts. Excellent. So how long would that take to charge a battery if it was completely dead? We get about 8 amps, but that's for my workshop, okay? And you're using a wind turbine, if I'm understanding you correctly, RG? And then what are you powering in your workshop? You're running an electric motor, a grinding wheel, a grinding motor, air compressor. Could you use a grinder and an air compressor at the same time? And then if you had on a couple lights, would it work? All right. Reviewing, Playing, and More says, if I put solar panels on a small shed outside, how long would it provide power? How many solar panels and how much sunlight per day? Volt turbines could have used the inverter when we lost power for 5 hours last week. Okay. That's Almond. That's Lydia. Maya are his cats, just so nobody gets confused here. And I'm calling him Almond. But that's not his name. I'm calling him that though. And guessing 4 solar panels and Canadian in Canada, so it's hard to say how much sunlight at times. Okay, maybe 2 hours of sunlight all day, 3 hours of sunlight all day. And if they're 250 watt solar panels at a minimum, or 195 watts per solar panel, which would be smaller ones like you'd probably get from Harbor Freight. All right, Joe MacGyver says it all depends on where you're at, and usually you get anywhere from 4 to 6 hours a day. RG says yes, there are tons of them, but you don't get a lot of them. on the 12-volt system. Okay, RG's answering Almond's question. If the weather's good, it could be about 6 hours a day of sunlight. Okay, Joe, and RG. Reviewing, playing, and more is in Canada. He has between 4 to 6 hours of sunlight. Tell him how much he can generate, how many batteries he would need, and how big the solar panels that he would need in order to do, okay? Tell him how big the solar panels he would need and how many batteries in order for him to get this up and running with his charge controller. RG and Joe MacGyver, you guys are up. Waiting for your response. Do you know anything about his question as well? Size of solar panels and how many batteries and how big a charge controller would he need to function at 4 to 6 hours a day of sunlight? Okay, RG says we get about 8 hours of solar during the day, not in solar day in northern Arizona, and the summer is about 5 hours in the winter. Okay, but you have how many batteries, how big a charge controller, so that reviewing, playing, and more can wrap his head around what he would need to do, so he could have a better walk away with a better understanding. Joe, can you respond to this? Joe MacGyver. RG, could you give him more detailed information? And or Almond will. Okay. Joe MacGyver says it depends on what he wants to do and how is he going to do it, 24 volts or 48 volts. Well, I'm sure it's something that he's learning. He may not know whether he wants 24 or 48, but just say 24. Keep it simple. Okay, the question is reviewing, playing, and more. What are you wanting to function? What are you wanting to be able to do on your solar? Turn on a microwave, watch television, have a couple lights burning, or what? Wanting to operate some power tools, a computer, you know, what kind of draw are you going to have on the power? What are you thinking? If it's just in the shop, you want to run an air compressor. Okay, RG says, don't go under 120 solar panels, huh? And with 8 panels, will get you about 100 watts. And most good charge controllers run your system if he is going to go with 24-volt system. Okay. Reviewing, playing, and more says, hi, little dumpling. No, reviewing and playing and more says, I would just want to be able to go out and have some power for 4 hours a day for a computer. Okay, he just wants to operate a computer. And maybe, be able to heat him up some hot water in a microwave. Pizza pocket or something. I don't know. I'm throwing that out there for GP. Heat up a cup of hot coffee. Okay, RG and Joe, there's your response. He wants to run a computer. Little Dumpling, thanks for being here. It would depend on the location and the area he is in. Well, he just said he gets between 4 to 6 hours a day of sunlight. And if they're a minimum of 120 watts per panel, you said 8 watts. Okay, he says he's in Ottawa, Canada. Okay, RG, what do you know about that? Or what do you need to know about that? Just ask him, RG. Yeah, just ask reviewing, playing, and more, because I'm not doing calculations. I don't know enough about any of this. I don't even know enough to get myself in trouble. Not on this.
How's it taste?
Good. And the gizzards, you
We
didn't.
haven't had it for a long time.
As long as I've been married, I've never had it. But they're super soft. I'm
Yes.
surprised. They're not chewy at all.
Fried it, huh?
Not even chewy.
Yeah, you just boil them.
Well, she fried them first. She did it Southern style and fried them first.
Oh yeah, but I can't eat the fried ones anymore.
Right. But I'm just saying she
They're
fried.
so good.
They are. They are good. I get them in the South all the time.
Yeah.
But she fried these, then she boiled them. Something she's never done before. That was
You
my
want some more?
twist. Yeah. Okay. Reviewing, playing, and more says, I'm just thinking it'd be nice to set up a place to system just outside my home that's powered, with solar running 1, maybe 2 computers, probably no longer than a few hours a day. I'm assuming that's what you're saying, no more than a couple hours a day. And if you wanted a microwave in there so you could just, heat you up some coffee or make a quick meal, why not, have it set up where you could do that. All right, RG, Joe, and Almond Will. Almond.
So how backward do people think we are for eating gizzards?
Oh, if they comment, I didn't see it. I don't think they'd be that. Okay, Joe MacGyver says you can put you can get a calculator. It's called a solar calculator. You look up online and it will tell you based on how much power your computer is going to pull, and break it down by the hour if I remember right, and exactly how big your charge controller needs to be. Okay, RG says I run a solar room in Lancaster, California, and I can run 2 lights and 12-volt fan off of a 120-watt panel and 1 battery. Oh, wow. And that would run your system. That would cost you about $300. There goes the foundation. At least that gives you, puts you in the playing field. Reviewing, playing, and more. That right there ought to give you enough information so that you can calculate and get that calculator Joe was talking about they have available online.
Well, it's official. It went over well. It's gone.
Oh, really? Wow. That's good. No, those just melted in your mouth.
Told you.
Al ought to try that. He might go, that's,
He did. He actually liked it.
I was going to say, I thought so.
Ginger tried it. She liked it.
Well, Ginger said she was liking it, but she's going, I don't like the smell. Okay, back to the channel here. Okay. What kind of battery are you referring to, RG? Are you talking about like a 12-volt battery from a car? Are you talking about a battery from a golf cart battery? Are you talking about a forklift battery? What type of battery, how big a battery are you referring to there, RG? Because reviewing, playing, and more, see, there's a list of batteries. All right, you can get all you need off about mid-level budget charger controller, which is $60. Huh, okay. That's on the charge controller. Yeah, and online that you can get them pretty reasonable for the small ones, that's for sure. But I don't know much about any of it, so I can't say that. But RG, what kind of battery? Golf cart? Regular car battery? A 12-volt marine battery. Okay. Well, Little Dumpling, thanks for stopping by, for visiting and hanging out with us. Appreciate you being here. It means a lot. And have a good night. God bless, and we'll catch you on the rebound. And good upload, by the way, on bed bugs. That seems to be an epidemic here and everywhere in general. I know some people that had some, and they struggled getting rid of them. They're nothing nice, from what I understand. I remember when I was a kid, but anyways, that's off subject. But thank you for uploading your post that talks about tea tree oil and baking soda to get rid of them. That's good information. I hope it really works. I hope I never find out. That's for sure. But hopefully it really, really works, and that'd be good information. So that's Little Dumpling's channel. If you don't know Little Dumpling, she has this up on her channel along with animal videos and all kinds of interactive type animal type videos, and rain falling and stuff you can go to sleep to, and just all kinds of stuff. Really good channel, Little Dumpling. Well, thanks again, Little Dumpling, for being here, and I'll catch you on the rebound, and God bless. Bye for now. Have a good night. Sweet dreams. Okay, so you said a marine battery, RG. You'll not need a large charge controller. You just put up a small system. It will last at least 6 to 8 years with no problems. Oh, wow. There you go. Reviewing, playing, and more. Nice. Almond Will. Maybe RG, just gave you a little bit of info there on show you how to have a little simpler system. But I know these wind turbines that Joe has really help give him the edge, for sure. Well, reviewing, playing, and more. Thanks for the question. That's a really good question, and you basically have carried this your question has basically carried this live stream right now. I didn't know what direction it was going, how well it was going to do, if how many people were going to be interested. I didn't know RG was going to be here tonight. I haven't seen him for a little while. I'm glad you're up and running, RG. Okay, the panels will last longer than the batteries. Yeah, Joe has some panels. Their surface glass is broke. It's cracked. Oh, well, thank you. Yes, thank you. I was hoping it would be. I was hoping it would be. And for you, I mean, you could build a system like I'm saying, where you could have a microwave in there. You could heat up some coffee or a quick meal, or, and maybe if you had two marine batteries, And then what about the PPT? The PPT is not a charge controller. What is the PPT or the PT controller? RG, Joe MacGyver. What is that PPT or the TPP controller? What type of controller is that? What's it do? Got the charge controller, and you got this other one that does something a little different. And I don't understand what it does, but that's something that I think reviewing, playing, and more should be aware of. The MPPT possibly. Okay, shows what I know. See, a charge controller, and there is a pulse width controller. Yeah, those. Talk about that. Reviewing, playing, and more. This is something we haven't discussed, and it's something I'm aware of. I just don't understand them. Because Joe, you've got 3 or 4 of them set up. You've got your wind turbine going through it. The MPT are no good. Yeah, they're not the same. Okay. Yeah, they're not as good as all. Joe and I was just reading about that a week or two ago, but a couple weeks ago. But tell us about it. What does it do? I forget what it does. I forget the purpose of it. But from what I understand, it's necessary to have in your system. That's what I understand about it. It's necessary. You really want one of those or a couple of those in the system. What does it do for you? RG? Joe? Almond, if you're still here. What does the MPPT do? Because I remember it was way better. Pulse width charge controller. I have lots. I know you do. I have lots of those. Tell me what it does. Tell reviewing, playing, and more what it does. Lots of those, and I haven't had no problems with them. The MPPT is supposed to be better controller, and I got one of these. Okay, RG says the wave of electric MPT pulse width will not get much as right. It's not far. It's not. No, it doesn't work as nearly as good. But Joe does have them, and they are working. But if he had all these MPPTs, it would work even better by far. But he does have one. So can we tell reviewing, playing, and more what they do, the purpose of them? Reviewing, playing, and more is a sharp guy. This guy is very sharp. You tell him the purpose of it, and I'm sure he'll wrap his head around it real quick. But this guy's really sharp. Sharp as a doorknob. No, he's really, really sharp. So what do these do? One might be better than the other, but they're made for which purpose? They serve a purpose. There's a reason why you want them, why they should be a part of the system. And it's something that was left out, and that's why I'm mentioning it, which is something you can't think of everything. But so, okay, guys, share your. Okay, don't get me wrong. The work. But if you don't want you max out of your system, go MMPT. Okay, well that's good information for you, Joe. So RG, Joe, will you explain what the purpose of, or then maybe not even explain, just what's the purpose of the MPPT or the PMMPT or whatever tell us about the ABCs. In all seriousness, if I knew, I would be, but I don't know. You guys know. The purpose of the PMMPT or whatever it is, what's the purpose of them? You need them. Why? They do what? Because they serve a purpose. What's the purpose? Okay, we're waiting for you guys to respond. Joe MacGyver, can you hear me? Are you in the house? What's the purpose of the PTMMPT or whatever it is? The MMPT. The MPPT charge controller. There's a pulse width charge controller. Okay. I don't understand it well enough to break it down. All right. My Almond says, just thinking of a way where we could have some power when the power was knocked out for 5 hours. Yeah. Well, you need this system in place so that all you had to do is turn it on. Or have a system that was mobile, that you could pull out real quick and throw some arms on your solar panels that would kind of swing out and hold it in place, and run some wires out real quick and have your own outlet box that you could plug into, a little closed system that you could, that was mobile. If you had something like that set up, the battery on standby, but you'd already have to have everything designed and just sitting there ready to put out when you needed it. Okay. Am I asking the wrong questions? I'm starting to wonder. Nobody's answering here. On the MPPT, what the purpose of it is. All right, RG says, maybe I didn't see that. The MPPT gives you the max energy out of your solar panels. The MPT only gives you 80% of your panels. Okay. All right. We're talking about solar here and what you need to set up. All right. Let's see. I will read Joe's, then yours, RG. MPPT as it builds up a lot of more power, so charges a lot faster. Okay, so it allows your battery to charge that much faster so that as you're pulling power from it, it doesn't drain the battery. It keeps the battery charging while you're using it so you don't run out of power. RG says it would be like I could call him and give him more information so he would understand that. Okay, yeah. Reviewing, playing, and more. Give RG a call. Hit him up. How can we store the energy for how long will it last? Good question there, reviewing, playing, and more. RG, Joe? You have a question. Reviewing, playing, and more says, how long can you store the energy in your battery? And how long will it last once it's charged? But that's why you need one of these MPPTs, so that when you're using the power coming from the battery, it's just pumping power. It's pumping that electricity into that battery to keep that battery charged while using. But this is how long will it last? Okay, thank you, RG and Joe. RG says it takes more batteries and the demand. Joe says it depends on the battery size. Will depend on how long it will store the power. Remember, it's a battery. If you don't start your car for 2 weeks, it's gonna might have be hard starting. Your motor may turn really slow. That's just basic mechanics. I'm assuming it would apply because it's a battery. I'm thinking it would be the same, would it not, RG, Joe? Like a car battery, like your car just sitting there, fully charged. After 2-3 weeks, a month, it's just going to slowly drop down to nothing, right? Unless batteries operate differently. You're talking about a marine battery in particular there, RG. Or if like a forklift battery or a golf cart battery, or, it would depend on the type of battery. Lithium battery versus, not to complicate it. So bottom line, though, I believe just any battery, if it sits over time, 2-3 weeks, a month, it's just going to start slowly draining. But if it's constantly being charged by the sun every day, it's going to stay up. So remember, if your solar panels are permanently in place and it's constantly charging, when your batteries are full, they're full, and your charge controller turns it off when your batteries are full so it doesn't overcharge the batteries. That I do know. Thanks to Joe. So your batteries will stay, and RG was saying your battery will last you like 8 years. Anybody, Joe, RG, you want to add to what I said or take away from what I just said? Or okay, and the age of the battery and condition of the battery depends. Cycles are your best overall, but never take a system below 50%. Otherwise, it will kill the batteries quickly. So, reviewing, playing, and more says, so is there a preference as to which battery is a better choice, marine or car? What's the better choice, marine or car? Or golf cart? I know Joe just got a couple batteries. It wasn't a car battery. It wasn't a golf cart battery, I don't think. And it wasn't a marine battery. He got a couple batteries, and I forget what type. Let's see, Lydia. Almond says 70 miles per hour winds knocked out the power last week. Okay, Joe says, I like running 6-volt batteries or 12-volt. They are called 40. They're called 4D batteries. 4D. Okay. So RG, what do you know about the 4D battery versus the marine battery? Do you have a reference for that, RG? The 4D battery versus marine. Now, I know marine batteries are very good batteries. But these 4D batteries are supposed to be very good batteries. So how would you compare the two with what you know about them, RG? Are you familiar with the 4D batteries or not? 6-volt 4D? See, because 2 6s gives you 12, 4 of them give you 24. Again, it will depend on what he's trying to do without knowing what he wants to do with his system. Run a couple computers, and I'm just saying a microwave. You know, you get hungry. Why do you have to go in the house? If you got your own little room sitting there, why not be able to throw a cup of coffee in the microwave, or, you know, cup of soup or something? I'm throwing that out there for GP, but he just wants to run a couple computers is what he's saying he's always wanting to do. But if you don't mind him calling you and you guys want to connect, you can talk on the phone. That would be like the best way to go.
Let's get going, baby.
Oh, yeah, I know. I think Joe, you're putting out some very good information. RG, putting out some very good information. The rest of us don't know much of anything, so it's a nice education. These are 12 volts. Okay, Joe. All right. I misunderstood. Okay, I like what you, okay, because I'm seeing you say I like running 6 volt. There's no problem with me. Great info. Yeah, very good info. RG, yeah, I agree with reviewing, playing, and more. At a higher rate, as you pull the power out of the batteries, the pulse width modulator, if I'm got the name proper, mentioned saying it properly. So as you're pulling power from it, they're pumping electricity into it to keep that battery fully charged, as long as you don't overload that battery and drain it as the end result. And so you want your solar panels to go, the wiring to go through the MPPT. No, it goes into the charge controller and then out through the MPPTs. Is that how it works? It goes from the solar panels to the charge controller and then through the MPPTs, correct? Or am I lost and in the dark? All right, 2 6 volts will give you 12 volts, and the base on which I have been given that sounds, that should do all you need to run when you want to in the time frame within the 4 to 5 hours of use, or you say 2 hours of use. All right, so when you hook up the MPPTs, my question is, it goes from your solar field or from your solar panels through the wire into the charge controller and then out to the MPPTs and to the batteries? Or am I talking nonsense because I don't know what I'm talking about? Or what? Can somebody verify? The solar charger to batteries to the inverter to your system. Okay, your solar panels to the charger to charge the batteries to the inverter. All right, then where is the MPP? We're at in the system. Is it? I'm thinking it goes to the charge controller to the batteries, right? So it goes charge controller, MPP3, then to the batteries, correct? Charger is the MPPT. Okay. Okay, so it goes to the charge controller. If I've got the big box, the big system, then it goes to the MPPT and then to the batteries. I'm thinking that's what you're saying. I'm not meaning to frustrate No. You have heard about any new tech in regards to solar and such? I have not. As you can tell, I don't know enough about this. But this is really good information. So, Reviewing, Playing, and More has asked a question. Have you heard about any new tech in regards to solar and such? Any new tech? Any new technology? I think that MPPT is a part of the new technology. That's what I'm thinking. Joe, RG, would you mind? Do you know of any new technology that goes along with this? I'm thinking there may be some high-end tech, new stuff, but it would be on cutting edge. It'd be not out to the public yet. And if it is, it's something you'd have to probably do research on to locate it if there is. And there may be, I would think there is. Joe or G? Joe McIver, RG Homestead. Just wondering if there was any talk of making smaller solar panels that give you the same power. Joe was mentioning to me there was something, I believe it was Joe, was mentioning something about they're making something like that. RG solar panels, and you have the charge controller, which is the MPPT controller, then to the batteries, then to the inverter to invert your device. Okay. RG, what about new solar panels that are smaller, putting out more power? All right. But RG says solar panels it goes from your solar panels to the charge controller, which is the MPPT controller, then to the batteries, then to the inverter, to your device, to your phone, to your computer, to your microwave, to your lights. Okay. Thank you, RG. I'll have to. Do panels have a lifespan? They have a lifespan, but I think they last a long time. RG, Joe, how long did solar panels last? Because I know they can be cracked. The glass on those solar panels can be cracked up, and you're going to still, it doesn't affect their ability to charge. Even if the glass is broken or cracked up, shattered, it'll still charge. But the life expectancy of the components in the panel, as of yet, nothing new on the market, but there is talk about that. But it many years down the line, down the road. Okay, RG's saying he's heard of that. There's talk about it, but it may be a long time from now, years down the road, down the line. Okay, is that the same type of inverter as you would get to power things in different power? In other words, AC to DC and such. RG? Reviewing, Playing, and More has a question here. Is the same type of inverter as you get to power things in a different power, in other words, AC, DC, such. RG, homestead. Most panels will last 25 years, but every year degrades over time. Okay, there's your answer there, Almond. Okay, from what I know about this, if you have something that's, if you want to charge something that's DC, you just plug it in the wall into your power and it'll charge it. But I'm not sure if what you're asking. If you mean like if you have a battery powered drill and you want to charge your battery, can you use it for doing that? Unless I'm misunderstanding your question. You just plug it into your outlet and it will charge it. Because the inverter's taking that 12 volts or that 24 volts and turning it into 120. That I do know. Or G or Joe, can you answer that question for him? I don't know that I did. I'm thinking maybe, but I'm not sure. RG, when you get an inverter, get a pure sine inverter to do the best, to get the best results. Okay, yeah, I've heard something about that. I know the power, Joe's mentioned the power we get from Edison is not pure. It's not clean power. And solar gives you clean power versus the power we get from Edison is not clean power. So you're getting a better system, and your tools, your power tools and that type of thing will last longer because you're getting the power. It's not having to work as hard to operate. So that's another advantage. Would you not agree with that, RG Homestead? That solar power is a cleaner power, so our devices aren't having to work as hard to operate on solar versus what we get from the power company? You know anything about that, RG? It's a smoother sine wave. It's a smoother flow of power coming off the solar panels. So our devices don't have to work as hard to operate. So they last longer. There are other systems that will kill your electronic systems, but with pure wave systems, it will not hurt your system. Okay. But if you compared that to the pure sine wave versus what we get from the electric company, it's a cleaner sine wave, a cleaner power coming through with the solar versus what we get from Edison or whoever it may be. Do you know anything about that? Well, I know you just basically answered it, but I'm looking for the comparison, RG. I guess I'm looking for a yes or a no, if you know. If you don't know, that's fine. You can't know everything. Not everybody, you know. But from what I understand, from what I've heard, hearsay, from what I heard, that Edison's power in is not as clean as a pure sine wave. A pure sine wave off the solar works better. Lydia, Maya, more, much more. Almond, solar systems from Harbor Freight, would that be something to go with for backup power? Or G, what would you say? Joe, if you're here, what would you say? Is Harbor Freight solar system it's about the same. The system at your residence is put down to almost pure sine wave as solar. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, but then Almond Will, Lydia Maya Moore, those are his cats, says the solar system that Harbor Freight has to sell, is that something that you could use for a backup system? But I'm thinking it depends on how many panels and how many batteries and what you're trying to operate, like we've kind of been discussing here and playing and more. Almond, what I do know is you can go to some of these solar companies and they have solar panels where the glass is broken on them and they sell them $50, $80, depending on the people, the company, $100, whatever. You can get them a whole lot cheaper if they're damaged. They still put out the power. And the glass being broke doesn't hurt them. Doesn't hurt the components, just the glass. And you can get those pretty reasonable. But you want to make sure they're the same watts, that they're both producing the same watts, from what I understand on that. RG says it's about the same as your residence. Okay. So if you had 3-4 panels, it's a nice system, RG says, Almond, but it's not worth the money overall. You can get a 120 watt panel for just a few bucks, and more will be better overall. Okay, so if you had 2-3 panels, or would you need 4 panels to equal out the system? It's either 1, 2, or 4. Is that right, RG? You either need to operate off of 1 panel, 2 panels, or 4 panels. But it would be out of balance to have 3 panels. Is that right? Is it accurate to say 3 panels, you'd be out of balance in the amount of power you're putting out in order for usage? You would need 1, 2, or 4? Waiting for a response. And thank you for your time being here and for being willing to being put on the spot, unexpected, and sharing the information, sharing your knowledge with us. I want to thank you again, dear RG. Because I don't know if I'm just asking this question, or I'm just showing my ignorance because I don't know. But from what I've heard, I'm thinking you want 1 panel, 2 panels, or 4 panels. in order to have an equal amount of power coming out for its use. For his system, he could get one panel and two batteries, along with a MMPT charger controller with an inverter would do well and handle what he needs. Okay, Alman, Mia, Maya, and more. He just answered your question here, Will. All right, reviewing, playing, and more says, I love the idea of this power source. What about the worry of them being moved around with high winds? You anchor them down. You strap them down, you anchor them down. I made some what I called hold down blocks. I took a 2x4, notched it on one side. It has a lip, so it looks kind of like this. And then I drilled holes through the top and ran screws down through them into the wooden frame that Joe's panels are laying on. And so it locks down the edge of the panel so they don't blow off. But you could use metal brackets to hold them down. Okay, I thought there must be something. Yeah, that's just something I made for him. But, he was like, I need to tie these down. Now, between the center of them, you could have a 2x4s. You could take a washer and a screw, put them every foot apart, in the middle to hold them down. Just a washer and a screw going down through it. But you can have brackets. You can spend money and have brackets or make them. If you were to make a Z, take a piece of metal and just kind of make a Z. You drill your holes and then it kind of goes down over the top and you can drill it, anchor it to a 2x4 frame. But RG, I'm sure you're doing something, probably nothing like what I'm talking about. But yeah, just something to anchor down the edges, You could use the ratchet, what are they called? The tie rope. Not tie rope, the flat, forget what it's called at the moment. It's able to withstand haul and such fairly well. It's able to withstand half and such fairly well. So I'm not sure what you're saying there, reviewing, playing, and more. I'm not sure what you've got an edge about so wide on the edge of your hail. I guess it would depend on the size of hail. But even if the glass breaks, it still doesn't affect the components and the charging capability of the panel. Joe has a few panels and the glass is cracked. It's cracked pretty good and they work fine. Okay, our RG says the more panels never hurt and still work. Just make sure the amps and the size of the charge controller that he will need always gets a larger charge controller against the panel output. Okay. RG, very good information here. Very good information there. That's getting down to the meat of it. That's for sure. So Almond, there's some information for you. Reviewing, playing, and more. There's some information for you. Take a minute to kind of wrap your head around what he just said, what RG Homestead just mentioned. Do a screenshot of the chat so you can get this key information so you have access to it to reference. Um, okay. Does anybody have any more questions? RG, I didn't know. I had no clue. You're not going to show my live stream ever again, and I'll understand. But you've really been very helpful here. Very, very, very helpful. Joe must have called it a night. So, Joe, you watched this after the live stream. Thank you for being here and your helpful information as well. Does anybody have any more questions for RG? Oh, okay, good enough. Okay, reviewing Playing in Morris is awesome. I guess that you answered his questions. And connect with RG. Go to hit his channel, leave him a comment. I'm sure he can help get you dialed in. Joe has some information too. Don't be afraid to ask him as well. But okay, so you and RG can work out the details on that. Almond Will, thanks for being here. Lydia, Maya, and more. Tell your kitties, your cats. It's all good. And I guess I'm going to have to call it a night myself. RG, I can't thank you enough. I really appreciate your time, and you did not come to this live stream expecting to be hit with all this. This was just out of the clear blue, everybody. RG did not know. I didn't know RG was going to be here. I knew Joe was going to be here. But I'm glad, RG, I'm glad you showed up. I'm glad you were able to and willing to be a help and share your knowledge with us. Means a lot. Like I always say, united we stand and united we make it happen here on YouTube. All right, RG, again, I'm glad you're up and running. And I look forward to your future videos here. And everybody stay warm, stay safe, and stay well. And God bless. We'll catch you on the rebound. This is Insane Friends, Easy 2, Tips and Tricks, ECT, etc., etc. And we're going to call it a night. Well, take care, you two, reviewing, playing, and more. Thanks for being here. You have really made this stream. You've helped to carry the stream, and I appreciate your time and you being here. It means a lot. And hopefully, in the near future, you'll be able to show us your solar setup. And something you may have missed, I'll throw this out there real quick. Joe has taken electric hot water heater, connected his solar panel, 6 solar panels, straight up to the heating element. And how he's done that is he's taken all the negatives and grouped them together and went to the cord. Took all his positives, grouped them to the cord, the power cord. Then he took that power cord, went to his heating element and connected it to the heating element. And he's getting straight power straight from the solar panels into the heating element on his hot water and his electric hot water heater. And the solar panels are charging the heating elements. It says 220 volts, but it's being heated by the DC coming in off the panels. And it doesn't say that. This is the best kept secret. Joe discovered it. Joe MacGyver discovered this. And that's great information. So you can even have hot water if you want in your little house or in your little whatever. RG, and if something you hadn't thought about, there's this idea for you. And Joe and I will be uploading his system, his hot water system, because also has a 30-gallon pressure tank. Well, thank you, Almond, Lydia, Maya, Moore, for your questions and for being here and for your participation as well. So we'll be showing that completed system probably tomorrow night or Saturday. On my channel, I've got 2 videos I've posted. One went live. The other one was not live, but I posted it last night. And it shows part of the system with PEX tubing and how PEX pipe works, and how easy it is to install. And you can make it's the hose, it'll turn. You know, you got to kind of form it and shape it yourself a bit, but it works really well. I did my house with it, but I would not recommend doing your whole house with it. I would rather have copper. I ever do it again, I'll run copper, and then in the bathrooms for the showers, I would run the PEX. PEX in the shower, it works great. You can do all your twists and turns. It's not affected, and it really makes it nice in there where you've got all those twists and turns. So for what it's worth, you can check out my video from last night and or my live stream where I was also showing what we were doing over at Joe's. We'll be showing the end results of all of that tomorrow or Saturday. RG, thank you. Good night. God bless. Thanks for being here. And we'll catch you on the rebound, RG. RG, again, RG Homestead. Thank you for sharing. And you've also have videos on your channel of your setup, but you were telling me it's down in your list of videos. So if you surf down through RG Homestead's videos, you will find his solar system setup as well. We have all PEX pipes in your system. Okay, so then you're real familiar with that. Yeah, this is a Worsbro with the expandable ends that has the memory that closes back down on the fittings. That's what we used. I have it in this house as well, but I would still prefer copper personally. But anyways, thank you, RG. And don't forget, RG has videos on his system and how he's set up, but you got to surf down through his list of videos. And so check them out, and we'll be looking forward to hearing from you. And bye for now. God bless everyone. And as I always say, never give up, because there's always a way. Always. We'll catch you on the next one. God bless, and thank you for being a part of my community.